Over to you.
Thanks so much, and glad to be here even at the end of the day. I hope you guys have had a fantastic session. There's been some really insightful discussions, so I hope I can contribute to that as well. So my name's Rob Costa. I'm a former agency owner and agency coach, and I want to talk to you about the importance of every agency having a clear, living, dynamic plan, something that's even more vital right now in this uncertain world that we're living in, of high inflation and recession and a nervous industry. So let me share my screen and we can jump right in. So just bear with me 1 sec, and hopefully you can all see that. Yeah, good. So oops, there we go. So in this brief session, I want to cover why running your agency is like planning a journey, which I know has been alluded to a couple of times already. And perhaps more importantly, what happens when we don't have a plan. I want to share with you a really simple way to create a plan and then talk about keeping your plan alive. So let's dive right in. So as I said, planning your agency's year is like planning a journey. So if you think about it, when we plan a journey, the first thing we do is think about the destination. So let's imagine I'm in the UK and we want to get to the south of France. So our vision for our agency is to get to the south of France. Then we need to work out, well, how are we going to get there? Are we going to take a ferry first of all, then a train, and then rent a car? That's our strategy. That's the how part of our vision. And then lastly, we need to have some specifics. So which ferry are we going to catch? Have we bought the tickets? What train are we going to board? And where are we going to stay overnight? And so on. And this makes up our plan. Now, without a plan, well, you might have a destination in mind and you might still get there, but you're likely to get lost. It's going to be more painful. You'll take a few wrong turnings and it's going to feel stressful. And worse still, if you don't have an overall destination in mind, well, imagine that being the case and you saying to everyone in your team, right, guys, let's go, let's start delivering the plan for the year. Well, maybe some of you will end up in the south of France. Maybe some people will end up in Scotland, and some people will be quite happy to stay exactly where they are. And you can imagine this is going to be really chaotic and stressful. Now, as silly as all of that sounds, this is how many agencies operate, relying on referrals and letting the world happen to them. And of course, then they become at the mercy of external factors being pulled in 20 different directions, relying on word of mouth for new business and reacting to he who shouts loudest. And they end up feeling like they have very little control. Now, this is especially true in a recession where things like word of mouth and referrals just really, really dry up. So let's move on to talking about why we need a plan. Well, a plan gives us control and focus, and I'm going to share with you a super simple approach to creating a plan that I use with all my private clients, I teach in my group coaching program, and indeed I use for myself. Now, it's worth saying that even if you are currently a one-person agency, you still need a plan because you still need a map of where you're heading. So let me start by saying one of the reasons I think many people don't create a plan, or they just create a finance plan, maybe a people plan as well, is because they get overwhelmed by the complexity. Maybe they follow sort of some business school advice, or they've got their accountants to give them some kind of template, and these tend to overcomplicate the planning process. So I'm really keen on a keep it simple approach. And what I'm going to share with you is the outline of a template that's been refined over the past 16 years of me working as a coach in the agency world. So quite simply, we're going to talk about a 3-page plan, and you can start implementing this concept as soon as this event has finished today. So on page 1 of the plan, you want to capture your longer term vision. So this is that destination of getting to the south of France, and this is typically going to be somewhere between 2 and 5 years. And you are going to capture a maximum of 7 goals in this longer term vision. And you're going to capture some financial information such as your revenue targets, profit and margins. Now, at this stage, it's fairly abstract. We're doing a bit of blue sky thinking, but it's really important to do because it gives us a sense of travel, and it tells us that actually, look, the south of France is where we ultimately want to get to. So that's page 1 of your 3-page plan. And then on page 2, you're going to capture your 12-month plan. So again, you are going to capture a maximum of 7 goals. And I'll tell you why 7 is the magic number in a moment. And you're going to include some financial information as well. And then you're also going to capture your quarterly goals. Again, a maximum 7 projects, including revenue, profit, and margins. Now we've got a stepping stone of your quarterly goals building towards your year goals, and your year goals building towards that longer term 2 to 5 year vision. 3rd page, so I told you this was really simple, is our month plan. And again, we're going to capture a maximum of 7 working on the agency projects, include your revenue, profit, and margin targets. And these are going to take you towards your quarterly goals, which take you towards your year goals. Now, notice I've been saying 7 all the way through this. 7 is the magic number, because the point about having a plan like this is that every single month you want to cross every task off your planning list, and every single quarter you want to cross your tasks off your quarterly list. And we're busy delivering our client work and running our agency, so we only have so much bandwidth to focus on working on the business type activities. So there's no point having this massive aspirational list of things you want to do if, like your to-do list on a daily basis, you end up only crossing a few of them off and then transferring them over. So your goal with this has to be to cross every single task off at the end of every single period. Now, once you've got your monthly plan, you can then transfer those actions into your diary. And now you have a process of connecting your big picture vision to your year to your quarter to your month, and then your month into tasks in your diary. So suddenly your longer term vision stops being an aspiration and starts having some stepping stones to actually getting there. Now, a word of caution here, and Bill Gates said this really well, that we underestimate what we can do in the long term, and we overestimate what we can do in the short term. So be really mindful of this, because as I said, your goal should be never to carry a task over from one month to the next or one quarter to the next. And you might have a particular busy time, in which case during that period of time, you're only going to have maybe 2 or 3 working on the business goals for that month or that quarter. You don't have to have 7, you just can't have more than 7. So use that as a way of prioritizing. So if you end up with a list of 9 or 10, pick the 7 that are going to move the needle for your agency. Now, 2 key tips to keeping your vision alive. Tip number 1 is that you need to regularly review and update your plan based on what you know today that you didn't know last time you updated the plan. Don't be scared to change the plan. This is perhaps the number 1 reason why so many business plans fail, because they get cast in stone at that 2-day away day planning session 12 months ago. They get looked at periodically, but they're never changed. And then a year later, we use the plan to beat ourselves up for the things that we haven't delivered. So it's really important to keep your plan alive and dynamic. And the second tip is that if you have a team, you really need to get buy-in from the team so that they are motivated to go to the south of France with you, and they are going to be instrumental in delivering that plan for the year. Okay, so look, in 10 minutes, I can only really scratch the surface of this and give you a really high level overview. But I hope you've got a sense of why it's so important to create your plan, how to go about creating a plan that takes you from the day to the month, to the quarter, to the year, to the bigger picture vision. And let me just wrap this up by telling you a little bit about who I am, in case you don't know me. So I started and grew and sold my own 25-person, £1.5 million marketing agency. I sold that up, retrained to become a coach, and over the past 16 years, I've worked with over 400 agencies to help them grow in a profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable way. I also have the podcast, The Agency Accelerator, and I'm really pleased to say that quite a few of the speakers today have actually been a guest on my podcast. And I'm also the author of The Self-Running Agency. And you can buy that on Amazon, but I want to offer that to you guys for free. So you just need to go to costacoaching.co.uk/book, and you can grab a copy. Okay, so I hope sort of flew through that. So I think I stuck within my 10 to 15 minutes, and just want to say a big thank you. Anybody who's got any questions, please do reach out to me. Make sure you enjoy reading the book. I dig into what I've talked about today in a ton more detail, and I had a quick look at the book today and it looks fantastic, full of tons of value. So thanks so much for putting all of that together.
Rob, thank you so much. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm coming to the south of France with you. I love that.
Yes, I wish so, because it's freezing here in England. I'm sure it's a lot
Exactly.
warmer in the south of
Same
France.
here. I'm in London too. It's incredible. Thank you so much. And we'll hear more from you, I'm sure.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Bye-bye.